Hello, my name is Kai.
And my name Michael.
Welcome to Pretty Podcasters. Today we will be interviewing my good friend from Target.
Wonderful.
So lucky to have you here today, Greg. How are you doing, man?
I am doing well, Kai. It's an honor to be here.
So, I have a question. Are you familiar with environmental justice?
Yes, when I was but a little boy, I experienced it firsthand.
If possible, would you be able to share any personal experiences related to environmental justice? Like that have impacted you or maybe impacted someone else in your life?
Yes, when I was but a child, I had experienced this firsthand. I lived in Cancer Valley, in Louisiana.
Yes, absolutely yes. Of course, like Cancer Valley, I learned about that in history class not too long ago. So yeah, tell us more.
Well, there's a huge issue with the chemical and manufacturing factories that are in that area that are causing high cases of cancer in people who live there. And of course, that area is populated with minorities and poor.
Environmental injustice affects minorities as well?
Well, environmental injustice is often related to environmental racism. When you look at things like the disproportionate amount of pollution facilities in urban communities, you will notice the same pattern, which is usually an obvious note of either racism or classism.
Well, that's interesting, Greg. Well, I have another question. Have you done your part in creating a more environmentally healthy environment, specifically in your community? And how so?
Yes, actually, I've stopped using my car entirely, and I've actually started biking much more frequently to things like work and other events, And as a matter of fact, I just biked to this podcast studio, that is, just to cut my part on the emissions. And obviously I'll never fly in a plane again. I mean, I'm not like freaking Taylor Swift. Whenever I want to move across the whatever continent, I will always use a boat now. So actually, next month I'm sailing to China. But yeah, I've been looking into other ways where I can cut my emissions by doing things like stop eating meat. I've stopped eating meat entirely. It's all about just making those small changes over time, and it always feels good to know I'm doing my part in cutting climate change, or doing my part in lowering the amount of emissions that I emit, all for the potential future of our species, and of our entire planet. And I'm not sure if I already mentioned this, but like I said, I biked over. Actually, look outside. I biked all the way to this podcast studio. Look outside. There's my bike.
That's a car.
That's because I lied.
Wow, you sure got us there, man. On to the next question, I suppose. Do you see a potential future where we are using clean energy sources? Like, solar panels, and not really relying on, let's say, just unrenewable sources?
Well, I'm not quite sure right now, but there has been a substantial decrease in fossil fuels being used, and I think that's definitely a good sign for our future, or what could potentially be our future.
Wow, Greg. That is very spectacular news. Every little thing counts, am I right?
Oh, definitely.
And I want to ask, what role do companies play in these sorts of situations?
Well, as I've said before, companies are basically being allowed to do just repetitive damage to our environment for capital gain or money. They basically just abuse our environment, and get money off of it. But I don't know. All that means is that the major companies have a major incentive to keep, destroying the environment slowly.
Well, isn't that interesting, Greg? Well, how can we help combat these issues as a community?
We can combat these issues by using things like spreading awareness and creating committees and organizations that will primarily help in, you know, setting new laws and putting new laws in place to ahead of major companies that like to pollute their environments that they're surrounded by, and just continue overall trying to reduce air pollution created by vehicles and, you know, like I said, companies.
Well, what kind of regulations can we put into place that will help reduce these issues?
Well, first of all, we could create emission standards, which would enforce strict regulations onto emissions from industries like vehicles and power plants.
Well, that was so wonderful, Greg.
Thank you. It means so much to me to discuss environmental justice with you guys.
Oh, yes, definitely. So did I.
Well, sadly, I think it's time to end this, Greg. It's been wonderful talking to you, but we would like to thank you again for coming out.
Yes, thank you very much, Greg.
No, thank you. I'll see you guys later.
Bye forever.